Deep beneath the waves, in an environment more hostile than outer space, silence is survival. The ocean's abyss is the ultimate hiding place. It is here, in the crushing darkness, that humanity has deployed its most sophisticated, most powerful, and perhaps most terrifying instruments of war. Today, we explore the story of a machine built for Armageddon, a Cold War Leviathan designed to guarantee peace through the threat of total destruction. And we will witness its remarkable transformation, a rebirth that turned it into the most versatile and heavily armed conventional platform in naval history. This is the story of the Ohio-class submarine and the evolution of the lead ship, the USS Ohio, SSGN 726. The mid-20th century was defined by an existential shadow, the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in an ideological struggle, armed with nuclear arsenals capable of ending civilization. The strategy governing this terrifying standoff was known as MAD, mutually assured destruction. It relied on the certainty that if one side launched a first strike, the other would retain enough weapons to launch a devastating, unacceptable retaliation. The YADI's problem was simple yet critical. How do you ensure your nuclear deterrent survives a surprise attack? The United States developed the nuclear triad: land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, in hardened silos, strategic bombers ready to scramble, and ballistic missile submarines, SSBNs. But by the 1970s, this triad was showing cracks. Soviet satellite technology and missile accuracy were improving dramatically. ICBM silos were fixed targets. A coordinated first strike could theoretically wipe them out. Bombers were vulnerable to sophisticated air defenses. The stability of the world rested increasingly on the submarine force. The agitation was palpable. The existing American SSBN fleet, the 41 for Freedom submarines built in the 1960s, were aging. They were noisy by emerging standards, making them easier for Soviet attack submarines to track. Furthermore, their missiles, the Polaris and Poseidon, lacked the range to strike deep within Soviet territory from safe remote areas of the ocean. If the sea-based leg of the triad was compromised, the entire deterrence strategy collapsed. If your primary deterrent isn't survivable, it isn't a deterrent, it's a vulnerability. Imagine the situation room. The intelligence is grim. The Soviets are deploying their massive new Delta-class submarines. The balance of power is shifting beneath the waves. The fear was that a technological breakthrough by the adversary could render the U.S. deterrent obsolete overnight. The nation needed an ultimate insurance policy. It needed a platform so stealthy it could vanish into the acoustic background of the ocean, and so powerful it could guarantee the end of any nation foolish enough to launch a first strike. The clock was ticking. The response to this crisis was an engineering marvel. The solution was the Ohio-class submarine.
True innovation
when the first of the class,
silence.
the USS Ohio, originally designated SSBN 726, was commissioned in 1981. She was the largest submarine the United States Navy had ever built. Let's examine the proof of this achievement. The Ohio class measures 560 feet long, nearly the length of 2 football fields. It displaces 18,650 tons when submerged. This immense size was for capability and stealth.
They were phantoms.
The heart of the beast is the S8G pressurized water reactor, providing virtually unlimited underwater endurance, constrained only by the food supply for the crew of approximately 155 sailors. But the true innovation was its silence. Every piece of machinery was mounted on sound isolating platforms. The hull was shaped for hydrodynamic efficiency. The reactor utilized natural circulation at lower speeds, reducing the need for noisy pumps. The result was a submarine that, despite its massive size, was quieter than its predecessors. It was said that an Ohio class at patrol speed made less noise than a small fishing boat at the dock. They were phantoms. And then there was the payload. The Ohio class was designed around the new Trident missile system, housed in 24 massive vertical launch tubes, upgraded later to the devastating Trident
the mission profile,
D5.
leave port,
These missiles have a
disappear,
range of
and
over
wait.
7,000 nautical miles. Furthermore, the Trident II D5 carries multiple, independently targetable re-entry vehicles, MARVs. In theory, a
Welcome
single
aboard, Gold Crew.
Ohio-class
Thank you, Blue
submarine
Crew.
could deploy up
We
to
have the watch.
192 nuclear warheads, though treaty limitations usually reduce this number. One submarine, commanded by one U.S. Navy commander, possesses enough firepower to destroy an entire continent. In less than 30 minutes, the Ohio class became the single most destructive weapon system ever created. The life of a boomer, the nickname for the SSBNs during the Cold War, was one of monotonous tension. The mission profile was straightforward. Leave port, disappear, and wait. Imagine you are a sonar technician aboard the USS Ohio in 1985. You are submerged somewhere in the vast Pacific Ocean. The submarine operates on a two-crew system. Blue, crew and gold crew, maximizing the submarine's operational time. One crew takes the boat out for a patrol lasting roughly 70 to 90 days, then returns to port, where the other crew takes over. The atmosphere on board is quiet, professional. You are isolated from the world. Communication is almost entirely one way. The submarine receives messages but rarely transmits, as any transmission risks revealing its position. Your job in sonar is critical. You sit for hours, headphones on, listening. You learn the biological signatures, the snap of shrimp, the calls of whales, and you listen for the thing you dread, the faint signature of a Soviet Akula or Victor-class attack submarine trying to find you. The tension peaks when the submarine receives an emergency action message, EAM. This is the coded signal that could potentially be the order to launch. It requires a rigorous authentication process involving the captain and executive officer, unlocking safes that contain the launch keys. It is a psychological burden unlike any other. The responsibility for potentially initiating the end of the world, while simultaneously being the primary reason the world hasn't ended. For decades, the USS Ohio and her 17 sister ships executed these patrols. Their constant, undetected presence stabilized the Cold War. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. The Cold War ended. The geopolitical landscape shifted dramatically. The world was no longer defined by a bipolar struggle. New threats emerged: regional conflicts, rogue states, sophisticated terrorism, and asymmetric warfare. The magnificent Ohio-class fleet found itself in an awkward position. Their sole mission, strategic nuclear deterrence, seemed oversized. For the new era, the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, START negotiations mandated reductions in deployed strategic nuclear weapons. The U.S. determined it only needed 14 Ohio-class SSBNs. This left the four oldest boats, USS Ohio, USS Michigan, USS Florida, and USS Georgia, in limbo.
The solution was
They were
radical.
scheduled for decommissioning.
Recycling.
This was the new problem. These submarines still had decades of usable life left in their reactors and hulls. Decommissioning them would be a colossal waste. Simultaneously, the Navy identified a critical capabilities gap. The Navy lacked a platform for high-volume, stealthy, conventional land. Attack and special operations support, attack submarines, SSNs, could only carry a limited number of Tomahawk cruise missiles. Surface ships, while carrying more missiles, were vulnerable to anti-ship missiles and could not operate in contested waters, often called anti-access area denial, A2AD zones, without significant risk. The agitation was clear. The Navy needed a way to project massive conventional firepower deep inland from a platform that could operate undetected close to an adversary's shore, and they needed a better way to insert elite Special Operations Forces, SOF, behind enemy lines. The solution was radical and innovative: recycling. Instead of scrapping the four submarines, the Navy decided to reinvent them. The USS Ohio would lead the way in a complex conversion process, turning a ballistic missile submarine, SSBN, into a guided missile submarine, SSGN. In 2002, the USS Ohio entered the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard for a transformation unlike any. To reach the core of the conversion involved the 24 Trident missile tubes. The nuclear missiles were removed, and the tubes were modified. 22 of the tubes were fitted with multiple all-up-round canisters, MACs. Each MAC holds 7 BGM-109 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Let's do the math. 22
Systems
tubes
nominal.
multiplied by 7 missiles per tube equals 154 Tomahawks. This instantly transformed the USS Ohio into a conventional firepower behemoth. A single Ohio-class SSGN carries a missile load equivalent to an entire carrier strike group's surface combatants. And unlike a surface group, the SSGN can deliver this payload from a stealthy, submerged position just off the coast. But the conversion didn't stop at missiles. The remaining 2 Trident tubes were converted into lockout chambers for Special Operations Forces. These allow Navy SEALs or other SOF units to enter and exit the submarine while submerged. Furthermore, the SSGNs were designed to accommodate a dry deck shelter, DDS, mounted on the submarine's back. These shelters are mini hangars that can house swimmer delivery vehicles, SDVs, small submersibles used by SEALs to travel from the host submarine to their objective. This combination makes the SSGN the ultimate platform for clandestine insertion. It can loiter undetected for months, supporting long-duration SOF missions, carrying up to 66 operators. To manage these complex operations, the conversion included installing a state-of-the-art Battle Management Center,
Targeting confirmed.
BMC, allowing the crew to plan complex strikes and coordinate SOF missions. The USS Ohio emerged from the shipyard in 2006, redesignated as SSGN 726. She was no longer waiting for the end of the world. She was now an active, flexible, conventional warfighter, relevant to the daily challenges of the 21st century. The strategic value of the SSGN concept was immediately apparent. The ability to deploy 154 precision strike weapons from a virtually undetectable platform changes the calculus of any potential adversary. The most dramatic demonstration of the SSGN's capability came in March 2011 during Operation Odyssey Dawn at the international intervention in Libya. The tip of the spear was the USS Florida, SSGN 728, a sister ship to the USS Ohio. Submerged in the Mediterranean Sea, the Florida launched a massive salvo of over 90 Tomahawk missiles in the opening hours of the conflict. This strike systematically dismantled Libyan air defenses, command centers, and strategic targets, paving the way for coalition aircraft to operate safely. It was a stunning display of conventional firepower from a single platform. It highlighted the unique advantage of the SSGN, the ability to conduct a high-volume strike without risking pilots or relying on vulnerable surface ships in the initial high-threat phase of an operation. Meanwhile, the USS Ohio, SSGN 726, has been crucial in the Pacific theater. As tensions rise with near-peer competitors, the Ohio provides a stabilizing presence. Their deployments are often shrouded in secrecy, but their presence is felt. A publicized port visit by an SSGN to South Korea or Japan sends a powerful message, a reminder of the massive conventional firepower lurking just over the horizon. The adaptability of the platform is key. The large volume of the missile tubes means the SSGNs are not limited to Tomahawks. They can be adapted to carry unmanned underwater vehicles, UUVs, for intelligence gathering, or potentially future hypersonic strike weapons. The Ohio-class SSGN is the ultimate Swiss Army knife of the deep. Let's return to the USS Ohio, now operating as SSGN 726, in a near-future scenario. The scenario is a crisis in a contested littoral environment. A hostile nation is threatening vital shipping lanes and mobilizing its forces. The USS Ohio arrives on station undetected. For weeks, she loiters using sophisticated sensors to gather intelligence, building a comprehensive picture of the battle space. In the forward section of the submarine, a team of Navy SEALs prepares for a clandestine mission. Their objective? To disable a coastal radar installation. At night, the Ohio maneuvers closer to the shore. The dry deck shelter mounted on her back is flooded. The SEALs, loaded into their swimmer delivery vehicle, exit the shelter. The lockout chamber provides the interface between the submarine's interior and the external environment. The SDV silently detaches and moves toward the objective. The USS Ohio remains nearby, providing support and communication relay. Simultaneously, the Battle Management Center, the weapons officers are planning a complex strike. Intelligence has identified the location of the adversary's mobile anti-ship missile launchers. The order comes. Weapons away. In the missile compartment, high-pressure gas ejects the Tomahawks from their tubes. They shoot to the surface, breach. The waves ignite their booster rockets, deploy their wings, and begin their low-altitude flight toward their targets. The submarine can launch its entire payload in a rapid sequence, overwhelming enemy defenses. Hours later, the mission is complete. The radar site is destroyed, the anti-ship missiles are neutralized, and the SEAL team is safely back on board. The USS Ohio silently slips back into the deep ocean, having executed a complex operation without ever being detected. This scenario illustrates the unique synergy of the SSGN platform. It is a fusion of stealth, endurance, firepower, and specialized capabilities that no other vessel in the world can match. The Ohio-class submarine, in both its configurations, represents the pinnacle of Cold War engineering and 21st century adaptability. It is arguably one of the most successful warship designs in naval history. The 14 SSBNs continue to form the backbone of the U.S. strategic deterrent. The 4 SSGNs, Ohio, Michigan, Florida, and Georgia, have revolutionized conventional maritime warfare. However, even these Leviathans cannot operate forever. The Ohio-class submarines are aging. They are scheduled to begin retiring in the late 2020s. The Navy is already preparing for this transition. The strategic deterrence mission will be taken over by the new Columbia-class submarine, designed to be even stealthier than the Ohio-class. The replacement for the SSGN capability is more complex. The massive conventional firepower will be hard to replace directly. The Navy's solution is the Virginia-class attack submarine, specifically the Block V variant, featuring the Virginia Payload Module, VPM. A Virginia Block V will be able to carry up to 40 Tomahawks, while significantly less than the 154 missiles carried by an Ohio SSGN. The Navy plans to build many more Virginia-class submarines, distributing the firepower across a larger number of platforms. The era of the Ohio-class is drawing to a close, but its legacy will endure. It set the standard for submarine design and demonstrated the critical importance of sea power in both nuclear deterrence and conventional conflict. We live in a complex and often dangerous world. The threats we face, from nuclear proliferation to the challenges posed by rising superpowers, require vigilance, innovation, and strength. The story of the USS Ohio is a testament to human ingenuity in the face of existential threats. It is the story of a machine built for Armageddon that found a new purpose in a changing world. The sailors who crew these submarines, the silent service, operate in a demanding and unforgiving environment. They sacrifice the comforts of home to ensure the safety and security of their nation.
We are still showing
their professionalism and dedication are the true heart of the Ohio-class capability. So, the next time you look out at the vast expanse of the ocean, remember that beneath the waves, machines like the USS Ohio are on patrol. They are the silent hammers of sea power, ensuring stability, deterring aggression, and ready to respond when called upon. Our call to action is not merely to admire the technology. It is a call to understand.
USS Ohio
understand the critical role that naval power plays in maintaining the global order. Appreciate the dedication of those who serve in the depths, and recognize the continuous need for innovation and adaptation to meet the challenges of the future.
Strength, when
the legacy of the
wisdom,
USS Ohio reminds us that even the most powerful weapons can be reinvented, and that strength, when tempered with wisdom, is the ultimate guarantor of peace.